Let us not dawdle, for there are grudges to settle, and new entries in the Dammer's Cron to right!
Howdy, howdy, Sidovil here, and welcome to another online ladder battle featuring Amovehacker, one of the best dwarf players in the world. And we've got a game of the Dawi versus the Beastmen. And, you know, this game, I want to talk a few things. I want to talk about this game a little bit before we start. Because in one of the last casts I had a game featuring me versus Hadries where I was playing the Dawi, of course, and he was playing the Dark Elves. He really pulled my army apart. Like, by the end of the fight, I had really, my army was all over the damn map. And, you know, I talked about how do you prevent that? How do you deal with that? And this is definitely one way of doing that. Sort of creating a formation where all sides are covered, and you know, essentially in this matchup you have the most mobile faction in the Beastmen versus the least mobile faction as the Dwarfs, and doing this is not wrong. You don't hear people like, oh, Dwarven geometry, and they try and make fun of stuff like this, or new boxes, stuff like that. Screw that. I mean, this is a perfectly reasonable way of playing. Why they don't like it is because they're, well, they don't want to send their troops into this mess of axes and stuff like that. And you know, they, for some strange reason, people who say that have this weird idea that somehow the dwarfs can be super dynamic and you know, be all over the map. I mean, you look here, 28 speed, 26 speed, 26 speed. Just not going to happen. So anyways, we'll get this game going. I want to start looking at the Dawi army first. Just a really interesting alignment, the way that Amove has thought about this or considered this. Has a naked rune lord. I think it's 850 gold right now. It might be 900. The cheapest lord you can get out in the field. Really, this game is not about the lords. This game is about the ability to maintain that center pocket. He has, I think, 4 Longbeards just for his main front line, and Longbeards are just such a great unit. We already know that. He does have 2 Dwarf Warriors, I believe, yep, on the either flank, and on the back, a nice little alignment here. He does have 2 miners with blasting charge and a single miner. Inside, he has a cannon for that long range. Really, if there's Cygors or something like that, the cannon can really do a number on them. And for inside this configuration, really, these Iron Drakes, they're anti-large. He's got 3 of them. The Trollhammer torpedoes, they're absolutely deadly. 1 Thunder and 1 Quarter for that long range. And if you get in here, he's got a unit of Slayers and a unit of Giant Slayers who's going to be able to attack you. For the Beastmen army, I'm just going to start this off slowly, and we'll get things going. We have a mixed front line of Bestigor, Ungor Spearmen, so 3 Bestigors and 2 Ungor Spearmen. In the secondary line, we've got 3 Rezagor Herd. They are armor-piercing, 52 weapon strength, 46 charge. They're pretty devastating if you can get them, and if you can hold them back, they're not so bad. 3 of those units, 2 units of Harpies, which are a very strong unit against the Dawi. And he has a Bray Shaman of Beasts with the transformation of Kadan for the summoning that Manticore, and Flock of Doom along with Wildheart to increase power reserves. And he does have Morgar the Shadowgrave, which is the most common pick, really, because he has a stave of Ruinous Corruption, which summons Chaos Spawn. He has a Spirit Essence of Chaos, which summons Chaos Spawn, and he regenerates. So, and he's on foot, so it doesn't matter against the Dawi that he's only 39 speed, because only 1 unit for the Dawi is essentially faster. He's got some Ungor Herds here, and on the far side, he does have another Gore Herd, Centigors, and these are not the great weapon variant. You know, usually you see the Beastmen bring at least some Centigors with throwing axes in case of gyrocopters. That's odd that you don't see it. Well, I guess no, he had the Harpy, so that's fine. So we'll get this undergo right away. You can see Amove is just focusing his cannons on the Bestigor herds. These Bestigors are really strong against the Dawi. He definitely wants to just, whoops, get those guys moving along as soon as he can. I love the sound of cannons firing. I just love it. The sounds in this game are so fantastic. So really, it's just, hey, come to me. He has no Cygors, nothing to deal with this, so we're really going to see how that front line holds up. And his Beastman opponent is going to try and bring in everything from everywhere to some kind of degree, but he really has to get in there, because this is the one advantage of having this cannon is your opponent's on the clock, right? So now he's within range of the Quarrelers and the Thunders, and the opponent wants to get involved here right away, even though these things are still quite a ways away. It'd be better to wait, but he wants to get going now, so he's going to send these Harpies in, and here we go. Harpies are coming in on the Iron Drakes, boom, Slayers in on the Harpies right away. Harpies come into these Iron Drakes, these Giant Slayers in on right away, and you're going to watch how fast these Giant Slayers take care of business. Now we do have the Bestigor Horde. They're going to do a number on our troops, and the opponent has left this slot wide open with nothing, but here goes the Harpies, and in come the Centaurs. We do have charge defense against large with the Dwarf Warriors. These Harpies are already gone. These Harpies are already routed. They will come back, but just pick up with the Slayers, find another spot for them. There's going to be more things coming in, like here and here. We'll see if we get... Usually you can't get blasting charges off, when you have a charge like this, but this we should be able to get blasting charges off and make good use of them. There's actually some really nice play in here by Amove once this really gets going. So we get in there, does a good job against the Ungor Horde, really a third to a quarter of their health. We've got this transformation of Kadon. In comes the Manticore going after the Iron Drakes, and you can see, really, this is actually quite a nice play. He's switching these miners with no blasting charges for over here, and bringing these other miners back over here so that they can release their blasting charges on the Ungor Horde. Nice little move. Really can hold off these Gore Horde with shields, but now we've got an opening that is kind of opened up here, and his opponent's going to sort of come in through the opening and get in. The line is pretty compromised at this point. So now you're going to finish off using the miners with blasting charges over here and get that done, and these miners with blasting charges are going to give them a shot in the ass on the way out. You can see these Feral Manticore are still here. Now in comes the Giant Slayers. They're going to get them because they are rampaging, but you can see really the last of these came to the Ungor. Now these two miners, they've used their blasting charges. They can go and get involved where they need to go, and you can see how fast these Giant Slayers are taking care of business over here with the Feral Manticore. And now the Giant Slayers can get right in here with the Centaurs, and the Harpies are sort of coming back in. You can see really this center pocket is compromised, but we still have units here that are able to fire. So right here, these Trollhammer torpedoes are firing into the Bestigor Hordes. Same with the Quarrelers. They're getting some shots in. There are more things that have routed are now coming back into this middle, but Giant Slayers are taking out these Harpies. These other miners have gone in to help these miners against the Gore Horde. These Razor Gores have definitely rampaged. Over here, really, it's just the Rune Lord. So this entire side of the line is starting to look a little weak. This side looks a little bit better, but if you look really close, there's not very much. There's not very much in the way of infantry back here. We have two Iron Drakes, and they're trying to find a lane to fire. And the Beastman player is just sending in things as hard as he can get. Bestigor Herds in, this Bestigor Herds in, and he's just trying to compromise all the range. But if the Dawi can get loose, you can see the range are really devastating. We got this cannon. This cannon is, I think it's still firing. It's yeah, it's still firing. It's absolutely crazy, mixed up in this mess. Got another Manticore summon here, and we do have, I think, the Slayers and the Giant Slayers. No, just the Slayers. Yeah, then the Giant Slayers are all in here, fighting against the Morgor the Shadowgave, these Chaos Spawn, unfortunately the Ungor Spearmen, which they do not want a piece of. It looks like things have cleared off over here and for the Dawi, so a new line can start to be set up here. And really the move, everything's kind of moved in right now towards the center. We've got the Slayers and the Giant Slayers are doing alright, and the Rune Lord has come in to deal with the Ungor Spearmen, and we've got these Longbeards to come in and help with that as well. Really, we've got the Ungor Spearmen out this way, and Amove is sending out Longbeards and Dwarf Warriors, and of course we'll get the encouragement, and he does have these Iron Drakes, and they're going to shoot at the Bestigor Herd if they can get a shot off, and they can't. And we've got the Bestigor Herd here on the Thunders, which is not good, so he's just trying to pull the Thunders away and trying to get into him with the Longbeards. That's really, he just wants to create a little bit of space so that he can actually use those. And you see now the cannon although it's really hard to tell, the cannon is free here for a second, but we've got these gore herds coming back in. I don't know if we're going to get any shots off. We got the cannon shooting at these Centigores, but there's like, yeah, it's still shooting. It's just absolutely insane. It's such a giant mess of carnage. That cannon is still going to town, still shooting away. And these gore herds are now coming onto the cannon, and it's still shooting. Still shooting. We got over here our Rune Lords in with the Bestigores and the Centigores, and we do have some ranged units being taken out by Morgar the Shadowgrave. Trying to shoot back into these gore herds. We can get rear charged by the Centigores into the Iron Drakes. And on this side, all we have left is the Longbeards and the Ungor Spearmen and these miners, and these guys are going to do fine. They're definitely going to clear that up for the backline, but unfortunately the cannons have been routed. They're almost dead, so they are off. The Longbeards are fighting the gore herds with shields. The gore herds are going to win that for sure. Now this side, though, is starting to resolve. A lot of routings going on. They're going to have some coming back, but if you can get them on the way, really, this is sort of like... get some shots in right away. You can get them routed right away too. Like their leadership just won't hack it when they're being damaged by those Iron Drake Trollhammer torpedoes. We've got the Dwarf Warriors in here, and now the Bestigores. These Bestigores have routed. They have shattered, and these other Bestigores are coming in. So again, a very nice play by Amove. He's going to take these guys, move them out, move the Dwarf Warriors in, and just try and create a little bit of space between himself and these Bestigores, but it's not going really great. He's got these gore herds done here, so now this pocket's the strong pocket. He can sort of recreate his line on this side. Morgar is really running out of good targets to go after, so really he's just going to send everyone after Morgar, and this line is resolving really nicely. These Bestigores are moving off these Iron Drakes with Trollhammer torpedoes. They have 5 units, 162 health, and they're still rocking 11 leadership. And these Bestigores are gone, and we've got now the Thunders, so really time to start bringing everyone in, close ranks, and surround Morgar. So most everything's routed. You can see the balance of power still looks pretty close, but obviously it's because Morgar is very high health. He's just got in here the Giant Slayers and the Slayers. He's just going to put all the Dawi around to watch this, watch the end of this really fun game. We've got some gore herd with shields coming back in. And I don't know if they're going to get off the rear. No, he saw them. He's going to get the counter charge in, and otherwise just work on Morgar the Shadowgrave. He's got still got ammo left for those Iron Drake Trollhammer torpedoes, and really he can just send everyone out and just let his range do the work right now, which I think is going to happen. But these guys are gone. The balance of power is really starting to shift now, and the Dawi range contingent are just going after Morgar. And, you know, we only have a few Dawi left in here. You can see Morgar is getting beat up, and some of our Dawi are taking shots as well. So they're going to sort of clear out a little bit. Yeah, there they go. They're going to clear out, and they're going to let Morgar take a few shots. Oops. There we go. And really, there's not much he can do at this point. Obviously, they're going to countercharge again, but the Dawi range are going to go, and he's going to bring in the Rune Lord for a little bit of fisticuffs, and he goes for the flying double leg kick, which is absolutely awesome. And these two will fight it out with some Trollhammer torpedoes coming in, and that is the end of the game. So a great fun game by Amovehacker, a really fun build, and really, I think, demonstrative of how you stop yourself from being pulled apart. Even there, he started to get a little pulled apart, but he kept on managing to swap unit for unit, and that's one thing I see really solid players do time and again, and I'm trying to learn from and do myself, is that swapping players for players. Like right in the beginning, that was a really good move, swapping the miners for the blasting charges for the regular miners, so he could get use of all his blasting charges. It's actually really strong play when you get to watch sort of those little battles that are going on, or just trying to move these guys, Iron Drakes, out of the way. Like, he must have been clicking non-stop for this fight. Now, we'll look at the finals. The Rune Lord got 16 kills, you know, just a naked Rune Lord. The miners 10, miners with blasting charge 39 and 32 because blasting charges were fully utilized, just about. 97 for the Dwarf Warriors and 18 for the other Dwarf Warriors. 17, 62, 51, and 101 for the Longbeards. Longbeards are just so good. 72 and 78 for the Slayers and Giant Slayers. 16 for the Quarters. 5 for the Thunders. But they were compromised pretty early. And 25, 68, and 57 for these Trollhammer Torpedoes. And 28 for the Cannon. Now for Kark and the Beastmen, 87 kills for Morgar the Shadowgave. The Brave Shaman of Beast, only 15 kills, and I really didn't see him much, so Amove must have got him early. And for the Ungor Spearmen with Shields, 2 and 23, the Ungor Herd, 14 and 18, and these Gore Herd, 132, Gore Herd with Shields. They were cleaning up a lot of trash and sort of coming back in and out, and they sort of came in late and got to clean up some of the trash like they did. That was a really good pick and really well used by the Beastmen. 96, 32, and 113 for the Bestigor Herd. They're always going to do good in this matchup. And 31 and 42 for the Centaurs. Again, I'm not quite sure why no Centaurs with great weapons. Centaurs with throwing axes, I think, are better than Harpies. But Harpies are pretty good, too, against Gyrocopters. And the Razorgors, 1, 17, and 17. I would say, just from watching this, these Razorgors would be a really hard unit to make work well. Because once they rampage... Man, now I know the rampage mechanic has been changed, but it seems like they are difficult to utilize. So, great fun game, really well played, and I love to see that sort of the ability to stay focused on how to play the Dawi effectively. And I'm going to try and do that more too. You know, like I changed my style of play to like in my very earliest games, like 3 years ago. You can see I would play sort of I would box up and try and defend and not get pulled away. And I really went away from that just due to people, noob box, you're a noob, or, dwarven geometry. I'm like, I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense to let other people's opinions, control me. But they do have an impact. So I really loved watching this, and it was a great example of how to make your opponent play your game instead of you playing their game. And to see 2 recent games, go watch my game against Hadri's, Dwarfs versus Dark Elves, and I played his game. And in this, the Beastman player played Amove's game. And that is the big difference, and that's what I definitely have to get better at. Had the Beastman player bought Cygors, 2 Cygors, this is a different game. Understand, I guarantee you, Amove wouldn't have just stayed there. He would have just deployed his army and went for the Beastman. He's got 2, Cygors back there to deal with, because 1 cannon is not going to do it. He just would have brought everything into range, and that would have been that. But no Cygors. Let's just utilize this this configuration, and it worked really well. Love to hear from you. And, 2 things I would love to hear about. Have you played the Beastmen recently? How have your games with the Dawi been? Or if you play the Beastmen, how do you find this match? I find the Beastmen actually to be a pretty hard matchup for the Dawi. I find I think the Beastmen do have an advantage, but I could be wrong. I don't think it's a big advantage, but I think it's there. But particularly because of the Cygors, but you don't see... You'll see the Cygors now that they've been buffed. And, your thoughts on really, for the Dawi players out there, do you try and find a configuration that works for you to really pull the opponents into you? And, what do you think of that? I mean, I absolutely love it, and I'm really going to try and bring more of that into my game. Since I started casting my own games, I want to make them a little more exciting and things are moving, but, watching cannons fire and blow things up is really exciting too. I love watching cannons kill things. There you go. Any of you guys who watch my channel know that. I love it. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I love comments. I always ask for them because they're my favorite part about doing this. So I look forward to hearing from you down below. And with that said, I will see you soon.